Can I please ask you a question? Could you please raise your hand if you build any open source software or are building it now or just contributed to any open source software? Good. Evil Martian team, don't be shy, please. Yes, raise your hands too. Thank you so much. And the second question. Please raise your hand if you think that marketing is bullshit. Evil Martians, don't be shy. Don't be shy. But I will bear it in mind. Yeah, it's scary because my boss is watching me from the first row, yeah. So, if you had your hands in the air twice, so you are a perfect match for this talk. Because it's for engineers and designers who built their open source, got their like fair 30 or something GitHub stars, and now feel plateaued. But at the same time, we don't want to mess with any marketing, right? Because it's a natural tendency for technical people to stay away from any sales and marketing. Okay, what are the reasons for building open source? Which one? Here. Fame, popularity, GitHub stars. That's far from 100% of cases. Fame is not the aim. Here are some actual reasons. We want our open source to be useful. We find a solution for any problems that got us mad, and we want other people to find our solution too. Second, we would like to pump our professional skills, because when people start to use the open source, they start to send issues. They start to send pull requests, and they start to use it in different use cases. And by reviewing other people's code, by solving non-trivial problems, we are pursuing our professional passions. All these reasons need just one thing: users. Because without users, you cannot improve your open source. You cannot make it better because you live in your own problem space. And it's a little bit limited, you know, and your open source can be like useful in many more situations. But for our project to be visible, accessible for users, we need a kind of presence in the community. People must have known about our open source, and not only via scrolling GitHub. Nobody does that. People do, like we are following, I don't know, newsletters or some certain people on Twitter, Mastodon, on GitHub. That's why we need to invest in our promotion, promotion of our open source. Let's look at one of our examples. When we decided to support the young color space, okay, LCH, I can pronounce it fast. So in parallel, we decided to support it via promotion. So we actually wrote a lot of blog posts. We created like several open source projects to facilitate using, it's easier. We took part in some events, podcasts, future events. And we not got only like users for our open source. We also got some credit of trust from the community. Just a little fact. When we were submitting our previous plugin to Figma, it was reviewed like 2-3 weeks. When we submitted our latest plugin, and Roma talked about it today, to Figma, the review took only 10 minutes. But promotion is hard. Hands up whoever thinks you have imposter syndrome. Yeah. At Evil Martians, like 100% of our team suffers from this syndrome. And we even had a joke that we have to include it. As a requirement to our job openings, as a cultural fit. So I perfectly know how much pressure you have when you have to brag about yourself or your open source project in front of others, but we should. So what can we do? Of course, there is always an option to hire a person like me, and I will help you with stuff like product hunt launch, or TechCrunch articles. But why do you need me if there are some practical steps that you can take on your own to help your users find you? And not so much. Here is the full list. So the first two steps are critical actually, but the second are more at an advanced level. So the first step, organize your docs. So many open source creators write their README, their description, as if people read it through up to the end. No. In reality, people rarely read online. They're far more likely to scan than to read word for word. That's why our README is actually our main entry point. And it should have the following structure. Clear description, why it's useful, why it's important, the difference from other products. Okay, how do people read online? This is taken from Nielsen-Norman Group research, and it included eye tracking. And it proves that people pay most of their attention to the beginning and some highlighted points. In the first case, they ask, find certain information in the text, that's why so many hotspots. But in the second case, they just ask to read. So that's why your description is actually the critical moment. Yeah, because it's not only help people to understand what your product does, but also motivates them to use it. And that is why it's the more difficult content to create. You can spend a whole week just writing just your description, first several lines, and that's absolutely okay. If you're stuck on that, I can suggest you the following technique. Talk to your friends, explain your idea to them, and record your speech. After that, extend your audience a little bit, and include not only professional people, but non-IT guys, like your grandmother. Because it really helped to shape your idea, to make it simpler and easier to understand. You can create several different types of text and again test them with your friends, teammates, grandfathers. But when you start to write your description, you can face a little bit risky moment. You can feel as if you have been bitten by a vampire marketing person. So you start to write in the way they do. Okay, most annoying buzzwords. Okay, can you suggest something? What words do you hate the most? Ninja, okay. Blazing fast, great. Any other ideas? Huh? Good. The best, definitely. Okay, here's the rating. I collected it from different resources, so many online ratings, even Forbes made one. The most annoying buzzwords, actually. And you can find yours in this list, actually. Do you think that a vampire marketing team is a rare occasion? Lightning fast or blazing fast? 1,500 innovated. I hate this word, absolutely. Almost 11,000 results. So please avoid any buzzwords in your description. If you think that your product is faster, or smallest in size, or just better than others, just use proofs like that, digits, like how many, or like that, benchmarks, which everyone can see. Okay, pictures, yes. So please use as much pictures as you can. You can use screenshot, logos, nice details, and you can use code examples. And you can even design a piece of your code as a picture and put it like that. And you can use our own monospace Martian monofont for this, because it's also open source and free. Woo! Lisbon bolts, they really work good to highlight the key points of your text, because, again, people read like that. Guides are really helpful. They help not only your user to start working with your open source beta and easier, they also can be a basis for your future Twitter threads or blog posts. We have so many different guides in our blog, and they like perform really well, so we have many views. It's the most critical step, actually. If you completed it and after that something happened, like you have no time anymore for this, or you just lost your interest, you still made a great contribution to the community and maybe inspired someone. Okay, the next step. Another mistake that we can take is to put a lot of efforts in our first piece of content, README, blog post, talk, whatever, and then do nothing, expecting that it will bring us fruits forever. But the long run is critical, and we should generate our content regularly. And I suggest do it via small iterations, like that. The next iteration should always be bigger than the previous one. So at the first step, at the first iteration, you can, for example, tell with your friends, create README, then you can try post on Twitter or any other social media, then you can try post on any professional community like Reddit, then blog post and something else, and then after many, many iterations, you can try something serious like launch on Hacker News or Product Hunt. That's why it's a good strategy to plan ahead 3-4 different types of content or different topics and work in parallel on 2-3 of them. It's also necessary to find your own frequency, to find your consistency. For example, it depends on your availability or work-life balance, if you have one. I don't. For example, Mike Perham, a creator of Sidekick, he used to write every week, and he wrote about things he built on the previous week. Now he do it more likely 2 times a month, but still it's good. Why else do we need this regularity? Because we need to show that our project is not abandoned. Because then user Google you and see that you regularly update and put any news about your project. They understand that the issues will be solved faster, and they will get answers to their questions, and they will get features they need. And of course, we can write about major releases, but still we have many other options. So we can write about feature, benchmarks, say thank you to your contributors. If someone mention your project in any talk or article, you also can repost, mention it. We need more touching points with our users. The more content and channels we activate, the better our chances are. Because of 2 reasons. Because we never know which particular type of content or channel will target the user we want. And second, because in this case, search engines and bots are our friends. Because the more content they collected about your project, the higher will be its rating in the search results. And also, providing different types of content, providing regularity, you write about your problem, about the problem you're solving and your project in different wording. And then people Google you, they can find you by much more different combinations of keywords, like slow, Ruby test, open source. Our open source is on the first line. Okay, how to pass Ruby variables to front end? Not at the first place, but on the first page, actually. So everything that remains online helps in this process. So if you are invited to any talk, offline talk, and its organizers do not plan to make any online activity record your speech and put it to YouTube, we will. So still leave your online imprint. For example, you can write definitely a post on your social media about this talk, and also you can share your slides on any slide share resource and provide a deep, detailed description for search bots to find you and for your users to find you later. And also, please mention people in companies. I mean, tag them, because it's much easier for them to find you later, and they will come and like comment, repost, or just like or dislike, whatever. But they will react. But we have, some examples. And in all these cases, unfortunately, I can't provide proofs, sorry, but they reposted these posts with mentioning. Developers do not spend all of their time online. So we need to find kind of other approach, What we can do in this situation? Make friends, get to know each other's different conference. So next time, you will have to communicate with them. You will communicate with people who you already know, and it's much, much easier to talk. And vice versa. Every time at different conferences and meetups, people come to our engineers and designers just to say thank you for your blog post or open source project. And these same people never like, never comment, never repost, do nothing about it. Please do favors. If you use anyone's open source project and you meet them, not outside on the streets, just at any public event, please come to them and say thank you. Or sometimes we meet people with issues at conferences, because sometimes they're too shy to publish it online, but feel like more comfortable to tell you in informal way. Do the same. So in general, that's all what you need to do to promote your open source. And now let's talk a little bit, I swear, about problems like newbies in open source promotion can face. When we start, content generation, people start to notice us. And that's a little bit anxious moment for many of us, because haters can notice us too. What we can do? First, fail fast. Okay, Y Combinator. They often mention that the biggest mistake early founders do is overworking their paychecks. They can spend a year just perfecting their pitch deck and nobody cares. So please do not polish your content until you think it's perfect. Because at this stage, any criticism is very harmful and offensive. Just do it again via small iterations. First share it with your friends, get their feedback, then teammates, their feedback, professional small groups, their feedback, and every time make a bigger step to a wider audience. And the next thing, work with negative feedback. Okay, I would like to share one of the favorite jokes of our head of backend, Vladimir Dementiev. Okay, he said, how can you understand that your open source project is popular? Just release a version with a critical bug. And then count a number of issues. A number of people who want to put you in hell. So it's hard, I know. I did a lot of crisis management. Then I worked for mobile providers and some blockchain project ICOs. I'm so sorry for that. But I shaped some rules. Sometimes hacker news is toxic, No need, to rush to respond. That means that if you already have followers, 10 to 1, they will speak up to defend you. You just need to wait a little bit. Second, if it's just pure hate to offend us, that's the trickiest thing. Never respond. It's hard, I know, never respond. And don't delete comments, because it's a weak position. But there is one rule. If you are told about something as a fact, and this fact is wrong, like your software is malicious, your software is too slow, we cannot leave this statement without any answer. Even if it comes from someone who just don't really matter, like social account with just one subscriber, no. When people Google you, and they do Google you, and and they will find this unanswered statement, For many people, silence means agreement or what we have nothing to say. So please answer in this case. And the last one, if it's reasonable critics, just start asking questions. People just want to talk. I have so many situations, then I talk to people and haters turn into brand advocates and even like defend my project and me. Then other haters started to hate. So that's a really effective way. And the second problem, my favorite, so many people think that writing is a talent. Instead, it's a skill. And we have several practices at Evil Martians, and we use them for many years. So the first one is do like an interview for yourself. Just write questions only that you think your users might ask you. Like, what's the difference? What's the use cases? What's the problem? And so on. Just write questions only. And then answer them one by one. After that, all you need to do is just to connect these pieces to each other, and you will get already like text or article. Second, okay, again, talk to a friend. Or just if you have any talk at conference, just record it and transcribe it, or like pay anyone to transcribe it, and you will have like a piece of content that you can shape. And if you still cannot free yourself, I can offer you my signature approach. Try to describe your project with F words, with obscene lexic. Because bad lexics actually liberates your brains. So you stop being like squeezed into any formal framework. You stop being very formal. So you can like tell about your idea much clearly. So later we can delete all the words starting with F from our text. And we will get something informal and easy to understand. Actually, I thought that that's my own discovery. But I started to search for some scientific, things about it. And I found a lot of them. So you can just later find it. So that's not just my crazy idea. That's a scientific approach. Then the last variant, so you can start to write from any piece of your article. Absolutely any. Not from very beginning, not from your title. Any. Like maybe piece that inspires you, or piece that gets you mad. And after that, you can build up and add another maybe less inspiring but necessary parts, and you will get a ready text. Conclusion, finally! So, in this case, marketing is not bullshit. Because it has nothing to do with spam, buying paid promotion on Google, advertisement or whatever. Actually, good description, good docs, easiness to find it, and regular updates to show that your project is live. Just are signs of a good, high quality open source project. So now you know what to do. So you can come back to your grandparents and to your open source and take another look at your README and your description, add more pictures, add lists, add guides and so on, and maybe plan your first post on social media. And maybe you can mention us so Evil Martians can come and say something about your project. Okay, and if you need any inspiration, just read our blog, follow our social network channels, and see what we do there to promote our open source project. And we have over 100 open source projects. Don't hesitate to borrow from us, please. And maybe one day, eventually, it will help you overcome your imposter syndrome. I still didn't. Thank you! After party!